Good. I was going to say good evening. Good afternoon, World Mobile Community. Welcome into Tap Central, your home for everything blockchain and crypto. Can't thank you all enough for tuning in here on this wonderful Saturday. Wherever you're tuning in from, again, I want to thank you all for your time. As a part of today's live stream, just like always, we're diving into the biggest updates when it comes to the World Mobile ecosystem and the World Mobile project. Now, of course, I can't do this by myself. I'm always joined by my two lovely co-hosts. First and foremost, we've got Cal, aka Clover Notes. Welcome up, man. How are you?
Hey everyone, hi Fareed. Man, you do so much. You don't even know is it evening? Is it morning? Is it afternoon? That's what happens when you work hard as you. So yeah,
Thank you.
I just say GM. Just because like you don't know what time zone anyone's watching from. So that's just an easy one.
That is probably what I need to default to. But no, I appreciate the kind words there. I'm all over the place. I'm actually trying to take a little bit of a break today, so I've been cleaning up and trying to get things in order. So I'll actually be doing some content after this. But it's always a good time to have you on here. Thank you as always for joining me. We've also got our fellow co-host, Rob LLAP. Rob, welcome up, man. How are you?
I do not say GM. I will not say that. And so thank you very much to follow my lead and do the same.
What you will say is this. I still
Live
can't.
long and prosper. Absolutely.
There you go. Well, no, always a pleasure to have the both of you on here. We've got quite the audience already tuning in here. Welcome into Finance Advice. Brody Alden in the house. Always welcome. Thank you for joining us here. Kobe Bohr from the Cornucopias community. Represent Bohr. Welcome in, man. We've got Elias Chan. We've got Jeff from Delta Nodes. Always a pleasure to see you here. We've got Enzo Nodes. So Enzo, welcome in. I'll be following up with you to discuss a little bit more about the ongoing email conversation that we've got. We've got Do Not You, fellow nationalist, I salute. Let's see, we've also got Clover in the house. We've also got Wave Nodes. Wave, welcome in. All right, gentlemen. Oh, let's see. We've also got Dummy Hungry and Dominic Shepard. We've got the audience tuned in right in early. This is going to be a good conversation. I'm excited for it. As always, make sure to share this out. Make sure to smash that thumbs up. I definitely do appreciate you guys tuning in here, giving us a little bit of your time to dive into World Mobile. If you have any questions, make sure to go ahead and leave those in the live chat. If you're watching this as a part of the replay, I'll be monitoring comments down there as well. But maybe we start things off a little lightly. We could take a look at WMT scan. I know that the team is still at token 2049, and then there's also the upcoming WMTX migration. We could also even dive into some of the rewards, right? I know that those have been ongoing since the official launch of batch number 2. That said, it's been a crazy week. Maybe we just start a little bit light by talking about token 2049. So I've never been to Singapore. I'm not sure if you guys have traveled abroad, if you guys have attended that particular event, but I've seen a lot of content coming out about it. And we even saw Endmaker from the Cardano community hosting a pretty big event where I think they had nearly 1,000 members in attendance. We saw some pretty big news coming out about USDA. We saw some big news about RWAs, but it's really good to see the Cardano community attending events like this. Obviously, we've got the upcoming Cardano Summit, which is more Cardano, focused. But what are you guys' thoughts about Token 2049 and the World Mobile team attending that particular event? Is there anything that you guys are looking forward to? Anything maybe that stood out to you guys as a part of what has already happened so far with that event?
Honestly, I personally never been to Indonesia myself. I was a bit jelly though, seeing all the content coming out from everyone attending, which totally made me want to go next year. I saw, World Mobile obviously attend. There were the Base Cafe. We saw a bunch of other projects there. So much attendance, right? And I didn't know this conference was as big as it was, but it looks like so many things were happening there and so many connections. So I'm actually really looking forward to a follow-up post from World Mobile to see exactly the type of connections that we're able to foster and who do they meet with, who do they speak with. Obviously they did a little post that they were attending, but I wanted to see a little bit more info as much as, as far as like who was actually there and what they actually did. Besides that, there's not much more for me to say on this, except that I'm a little bit jealous that I wasn't there. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I think, one of the biggest crypto events outside of, I would say, maybe like Bitcoin. I forget the name of the big Bitcoin conference that just took place in Tennessee. Anywho, I think this is by far one of the biggest ones. I'm going to aim to get out there next year. It's just super far from here, and the tickets are expensive, but looks like a really nice event. We saw Champ Medici, I believe, who's Snoop Dogg's son, actually hanging out with Charles Hoskins and catching up. Saw some of the team members from Clay Nation also out there. I mentioned Patrick. And I want to say there are a few other teams out there, but anywho, excited to hopefully get a rundown of what the World Mobile team was able to do out there. Maybe we take a look next at WMT Scan. So I believe there's been some new nodes that have been deployed. And we've now officially crossed over, I want to say it's 2,000 nodes. So we're now 2164. Let me bring this up here on the screen. Boom. And so we've got 1,200 nodes or 1,300 nodes now in Pakistan. We've got 680 in Zanzibar, and then 186 as we're now growing within Reno. Clover, I believe you participated in the second sale. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir, I did. I participated in all the sales, to be honest with you. I didn't skip one, but I love that when you zoom in the WMT. I don't even use WMT scan anymore. I just jump on the Explorer, but it's okay. Just zoom in real quick, and then you're able to see the link notes now, which I really enjoy. Like if you like, yeah, like these are, well, we can't really click on them to get a little more details, right? But if you zoom out and see the areas where they were launching the Apex nodes and the link nodes, especially around the Lake Tahoe area or the Battle Mountain area, you can totally see all the link nodes. And I'm not 100% sure if you're like scroll over and it kind of shows you where the apex is and which link nodes it connects to. It kind of does that square shape situation.
Is that on this map, or is that the
yeah,
Explorer?
It's on this map. If you zoom out a little bit and then you hover over, you kind of see like a triangle type of shape, right? Like, so if you hover over one of them right now, right, you see what I mean? Or maybe that's just the area these specific nodes service, or they're meant to service. I'm not 100% sure how that exactly works, but yeah, it's cool that they were adding these nodes, and this is really the reason why the consumption going up as high as it is, because these nodes are super data hungry, right? I mean, I have a link node, and that thing is like sucking up data. It's cool to see, and once we start seeing more batches come out and more link nodes and more Apex nodes, we can totally see that consumption rate go higher and higher.
Yeah, there's a post. I'm going to try to find it here. I want to say it was released by another Earth node operator, but it was showing the huge spike in data consumption over the last like 7 days, 14 days, and then 30 days. And the data's been through the roof. And I assume that's because of the latest drop with batch number 2 coming online. Speaking of Clover, are you able to maybe highlight whether or not you're actually able to see those nodes within your dashboard? If so, what specs or what bits of information, are you given so far?
Yeah, I'm able to see their location, right? I think they did an update on the dashboard, if I'm not mistaken. So there's an air node section, and then if you look at the stats on the drop one, you're actually able to see a photo now of your location, where it is located. You can look at the map and then message your host from the dashboard, which makes it really simplified. I mean, obviously you can see like the upload and the download and your uptime and things of that nature. But as far as like the link notes and the Apex, you're not able to see like a picture of the location. Maybe they'll update that eventually, but you can definitely see like the actual location of the node. And then also obviously all the stats like the uptime and the earnings and upload, download, and all that stuff. So they've been updating the back end and the front end of the dashboard. So you're starting to see a lot more details now when it comes to the dashboard. So yeah.
Nice. Now we'll jump into community questions here. I am monitoring the chat. There's, I think, a couple of good ones that have already popped in here. Rob, welcome in. Now, I'm not mistaken, Rob. Do you own any air nodes yet?
I don't have anything showing up on my dashboard.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Do you have any plans on owning an air node? And don't feel bad, because I don't own any air nodes myself.
Yes, I've been trying to trying to get something set up with World Mobile in order to accumulate some of these, and so it's kind of a um, they do these public launches, and then they also do things where if you come in, whether you yourself or with a group, and you commit to buy a certain amount or a certain dollar amount of things, they I don't want to say give necessarily it's preferential treatment, but they give you an option to accumulate outside of these drops, but it has to be enough that it's significant. That's why you see groups like Nuvola coming in, Node Locker, and companies like that. And so I don't have, like I said, I don't have anything on a dashboard, but I am hoping to get established. I'm working with a couple of great guys that we're trying to find a way to make, bring a business move in to purchase several of them. And so, that's kind of where I'm at right now. And it's not the reason I haven't gotten already. The first drop, I sat on those 180s a little too long before I clicked, and by then they were all committed for. And then the second one, like I said, it was the day before Rare Evo, and I was driving kids across state to my mom's house so that I could go to Rare with my wife, and so I unfortunately had to miss that drop. But yes, it's absolutely in the plans. Trying to get something very special established with these business partners that I have, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it as well. Let's jump into a couple of questions here. But before we do, did you guys see the clip of Vitalik singing? It was cringe worthy.
Yeah.
Brandolph bringing that back up here. If you guys haven't checked it out, definitely make sure to take a couple of seconds and check that out. I was very, very surprised. And Charles actually responded to that clip. And like, when I think about the founders in this space, I think of Vitalik and I think of somebody like Charles, and I'm just like, they couldn't be any more like polar opposites. I couldn't imagine Charles getting up on stage and doing something as, I don't want to say silly, but like as goofy as that, and again, no hate to, ETH in the community, but it was just an interesting clip for me to see. Anywho, let's jump into some of these questions here. And just want to give a huge shout out to Steve here for the $5 super chat. Steve, we'll take your question here in just a moment. There's another question I want to jump into related to the current topic that we're discussing, but we will jump into what you've asked here again. Thanks for the super chat. So this first one is coming in from Elias Chan, and I'd love to maybe get both of you guys' perspective on this, but please let us know how to prepare for the next sale. I anticipate that they'll go in 11 minutes or so again. Is there anything that we can do as a community to sort of just be ready, right? I would assume the basics, like making sure that your wallet is ready to go, making sure that, you don't have too much stuff within your actual UTXOs to make sure that you reduce the probability of having any issues. Obviously, making sure that you have enough funds. But short of that, Cal, you've participated in both of these sales. So maybe we turn this over to you first, but what can you provide as advice for anybody looking to prep and participate in the next sale?
Yeah, the first thing I would say is obviously sign up for the whitelist, right? That should be your first thing that you do. So it's join.worldmobile.io. That's the website. The whitelist it's not live yet. It's currently closed because they haven't updated it from the last sale. But once we get closer to the next sale, this whitelist is going to open, and then this is going to give you an opportunity to be notified a week before another batch comes online. And then you're also given plenty of notifications over email if you're not following World Mobile on X, which you obviously should. But that gives you the opportunity to know ahead of time, and it actually even gives you a discount because the link notes are actually not the price that people pay for them on the whitelist versus what the public sale would have gotten. Obviously, we never got to the public sale, right? Because it sold out in the 11 minutes. But because you were on that whitelist and you were that early, then you're able to obviously save and have an opportunity beforehand. And then the regular things, join the Discord, join the Telegram, turn on your notifications, and be vigilant once the drop comes online, because there's a lot of people that want these air nodes. And now there's not only people, as you heard Rob talk about, there's companies that are coming to World Mobile and wanting to join the partner program and wanting to have a bigger allocations of air nodes because they're starting to see the opportunity here. So If you're someone who has a bigger amounts of revenue set aside, then I would recommend to directly go through the partner program and acquire these notes, because if you're thinking that you're going to get a big bulk of notes at once, there's a lot of people waiting. So whitelist, and then if you want a bigger order, then go through the partner program.
Thank you for those tips there, Clover. And before I go over to Rob, if you guys are not already following Rob and Clover, make sure to go ahead and do so. The link to both of their official X accounts listed down below as a part of today's live stream. So definitely make sure to go ahead and follow both of these guys. They definitely stay on top of World Mobile literally every day. I think every tweet that I see, like for some reason, it's really odd, Clover. I wake up and I refresh my Twitter feed, and you are always one of the first people that show up at the very top. And it's always like a motivational related to World Mobile. And so for anybody who's here, who's just as enthusiastic about World Mobile as Clover is, make sure to follow him. And the same goes for Rob, right? A lot of really great content. Anything related to World Mobile, you'll get it first from them to listed on X. So make sure to go ahead and follow them there. Rob, you're aiming to grab, hopefully, your first few air notes here in the second, or I guess the third round here for air notes. Anything that you're doing in order to stay ahead of the game?
I think it's important, like Cal said, to follow along and make sure that you're up to date. You mentioned things like have your UTXOs cleared in your wallet. It depends on how you're going to pay. I mean, they're taking crypto through crypto.com is the platform they're using to onboard people with crypto. The credit cards. So you make sure that if you're going to pay with a credit card, make sure you have enough space on it. If you're trying to buy an Apex, that's $16,000. And so it's like, you make sure that you're not maxed out on your cards if you're going to pay that way. I'd also encourage anyone, this is a personal encouragement, not a financial guidance here, but it's going to be nice to have these air nodes that are paying out monthly. Cal's receiving that already. He's getting his investment back at a pretty high rate. That's awesome. But remember, it's going to take, at the current rate, maybe 2.5 years, depending on, I mean, we know that traffic's going to pick up. We know that more subscribers are going to come on, and we're going to see these rates increase. But I just want to really encourage people. I want to see World Mobile succeed, but I'm not willing to go into debt to do it. I'll put everything I have. I'll work extra hours. I'll sacrifice and cut back on other things to make sure I have the funds to do this. But I'm not going to go into debt. I'm not going to pay 28% a month on a credit card and interest because I'm trying to buy one of these things. And so I just want to encourage people to really consider not if you can afford it, but how you can afford it without going into debt. I think that's the right move. And I think that, you don't want to, you don't want World Mobile to become a swear word for you. When you think about them, you get angry and upset because you've gone into debt. You can't pay those bills. Something bad happens because you made a bad choice. So definitely we want to see people succeed here. And I think one of the ways to do that is to make sure that you are able to cash flow these types of purchases.
And I just want to just quickly add in this calculator, right? So for anybody who isn't aware, the team has this calculator available at airnode.worldmobile.net. And from here, you can play around with some of these sliders here to get a better idea as to how much you'll potentially be earning, right? These are not fixed numbers. These are not, set in stone. So definitely, keep that in mind. But this, I think, is a good starting point to get a better idea as to how you could earn and how long it might take to recoup the initial investment that you've invested in your air nodes. And so that said, hopefully that gives you a little bit of clarity there on your answer. Let's jump into a few more questions here. There's some really good ones that have come in from Jeff, aka Delta Notes. And then there's also a couple of good questions about staking, what happens after September 30th, which for those of you who aren't aware is when the official migration begins for WMT into WMTX. So let's take a couple of questions here. Let's jump into the one that came in from Steve, and then we'll jump into Jeff. So Steve, again, thank you for the $5 super chat. Is it a threat to World Mobile if Starlink were to release their own cellular service using their satellite? I want to respond here, but do I feel like I'm qualified? I want to say no. And so I'll maybe toss this one over to Rob or Clover if they feel comfortable touching on this particular topic here. But I personally don't want to jump the gun here and misspeak. If you guys want to take an opportunity to answer this one, the floor is all yours. If not, I could try to think a little bit about this. We could swing back over to this question.
I'll jump. I honestly, I think someone posted something on X yesterday or the day before that, so I kind of answered that there, but I'll go over it again. So Starlink essentially, in my opinion, shouldn't be viewed as a competitor to World Mobile, right? And that's for several reasons, and I'll go into detail why that is. So first, right, World Mobile leverages Starlink as a backhaul in regions where fiber is not an option for World Mobile to use as a backhaul, right? I mean, additionally, World Mobile, when I say backhaul, World Mobile uses several different methods to establish this backhaul, right? And it could be fiber, like I said, it could be various different methods, and Starlink is essentially one of those methods, which allows World Mobile to launch in areas where traditional telecom networks basically struggle to deploy profitably, right? And second, which is I think even more important reason is because you can build a reliable network on the ground using Starlink alone, right? I guess this is crucial for managing like large scale capacity when it comes to networks. So World Mobile obviously helps with that, and is building and is trying to build a reliable ground network versus Starlink, who actually only provides that, but not at the extent that World Mobile offers it, right? Another thing that I would say is that Starlink offers a higher cost when it comes to World Mobile ground network. So it's a little bit harder for people and to get to that service in regions that are like not, I guess, economically inclined. So like Africa and places like that. This is where World Mobile really shines, but they're not really competitors. They work together in a sense that World Mobile can use it as a backhaul. And actually, I think I'm gonna send you something here that I want you to pin and show everyone, if you don't mind. I saw a thread today by WMTX Lady. If you see the message I just sent you, and she actually went into detail as to why Starlink is more of a partner to World Mobile than a competitor, right? And she goes and breaks it down really, really well. I highly recommend you go and read that thread if you're trying to understand why World Mobile and Starlink potentially complement each other rather than compete against one another. And she also goes into the reason and the difference of the two different technologies and what they're trying to accomplish when it comes to connecting people. So definitely go and read that thread, because I think it's written very well, and it goes into very good detail between the two.
Yeah, and just maybe highlighting one bit right here, stating it's not about direct competition, but it's about solving different problems using entirely different technologies. What's interesting is that they could both actually collaborate, which is what it sounds like Clover just mentioned, right? The fact that World Mobile can build out their network using Starlink as the backhaul infrastructure. Rob, I know that you've been taking some trips. One of them really stirred up a lot of questions and rumors a few months back. I think this was around April-ish. Is there anything that you maybe want to add here to this conversation when it comes to Starlink and how that plays a role with World Mobile?
Yeah, I went on a trip. I went down to an Aerostat test launch, and apparently during that time, we all hung out and signed contracts with Elon Musk and shook his hand and rode in his space jet and all these amazing things. I must have been asleep when that happened, but that's what somebody thought, and it spread like wildfire that World Mobile is now partners with SpaceX and Tesla and all these other, Elon Musk's best friend and everything. I heard that Mickey and Elon had a sleepover, and Elon was wearing a World Mobile shirt, and it's just all that fun stuff. Those are the rumors, at least. I look at it this way. You have to go to the store, right? What are you going to the store for? Are you going to the store because you want a candy bar and a bottle of soda? Are you going to the store because you're prepping for the end of the world, and so you're going to buy 35 cases of bottled water and 3,000 pounds of rice and beans to store for the end of the world? Or are you going there because you need to pick up dinner for your wife and kids, right? You drive a motorcycle to the store, you're not bringing back home a case of water. You might be fitting in whatever you put in your saddlebags or your backpack, right? You drive a conversion van, there's no reason to drive a conversion van to go get a candy bar, right? You're going to take the conversion van because you're going to load it up with stuff. You drive the family sedan to the store, you're just going to get, normal groceries. So each of those vehicles can be used in different ways, but some of them are limited. And like Cal said, you know, with Starlink, that's going to be more for the individual. It's going to be more for the remote places where you can't get connection. It's going to be for the person living out on the farm trying to get connection to their farm only. You start to add in World Mobile and the 180s and the 360s, the Titans. Now you're starting to get that coverage, that bigger coverage in an area where there's no coverage. Whereas a single Starlink, unless you connect it to some sort of a Wi-Fi extender or some sort of a push, you're not going to be able to get cover in a small town in the middle of Iowa, right? But you will with a Titan, you will with a couple of 360s. You're going to be able to cover that entire area. And so, again, it's like, which vehicle do you take to the store? Well, what's practical for what you're trying to do? Starlink is not a one size fits all solution. World Mobile offers a lot of solutions that Starlink doesn't, and together they offer even more. Remember what we're trying to do here in areas like where I live, in areas within the United States, it's the Swiss cheese approach. Trying to find where there's a lack of coverage. Well, who needs that coverage in that Swiss cheese, that dead zone? Is it the one guy out on 1,000 acres by himself? Is it the small town? Is it the neighborhood in the city that just because of the trees or whatever else, for whatever reason, there's a dead zone. There's a pocket of dead zone. World Mobile can fix that. If you're talking one person, Starlink can fix that. You start to figure out where the need is and what the best method is. You're not going to put an aerostat on my farm. There's no reason to. We have coverage 20 minutes away in Omaha, right? But you are going to put an aerostat in Mozambique, in Tanzania, where there's nothing for hundreds of miles, and the aerostat is going to have a better use case. So it's again, what is the need? What are the options that these different companies provide, and are they competitors? Are they doing the same thing, or are they offering different services that are going to benefit depending on where they are? There's places that World Mobile will not go to. I'll tell you that. There's no reason to, because there's enough coverage in those places that it's just not needed. And at some point, we might see a conversion where the legacy telcos start to disappear, and World Mobile is big enough at this point that we can spread, and there is a better use case for it. But there's places right now that, hey, Mickey, let's check out this area. We're not going there, Rob. We don't. There's not a reason for us to go there right now. We need to spend our resources where people need it the most. So again, there's just a lot of options, but it's not a one size fits all for everything. And so that's what's so great about having these other use cases. And like Cal said, World Mobile has used and continues to use Starlink for specific areas, for specific use cases. So I think that it's good to see Starlink improve the capabilities, because just think of what World Mobile can do on top of that or with that.
I always love having you guys on here. You guys literally save me every single time. Again, guys, this is why you guys want to follow Clover and Rob on X. So, Steve, again, thank you for the $5 super chat. Hopefully that answers your question. It doesn't seem like Starlink is a competitor, but actually something that could help to accentuate what World Mobile is offering to the general community. Now, before we jump into the next bit here, this was really exciting. This showed up yesterday on my X feed again. And this was really unexpected. So this came in from Christian Reese. For anybody who isn't aware, Christian works for World Mobile. He does a lot of the setup and installation that takes place in Reno, Nevada. And so with the second launch, which I think, as Clover mentioned earlier, has now sort of expanded towards the California area, this appears to be somewhere in Reno. Um, you guys see that logo there, right? This took me back. So I'm not sure if World Mobile is paying. Well, I assume they're paying for this, but to see the exposure, to start to see World Mobile now, at things like a baseball game. I mean, imagine how many people see that logo and say, "Hey, what is World Mobile?" You know? And so I think a lot of people tend to forget how far we are from mass adoption. Granted, the numbers that we're seeing now with, 100,000 users is impressive. It's awesome, especially for a lot of the members here that are OG, which saw that number, at 6, 7, 8,000 a long time ago. And so to see this now, I'm like, okay, I think this is what we need to get that mainstream adoption. But I wanted to take a quick minute just to quickly highlight this here that this showed up yesterday, and I couldn't be any more happy to see World Mobile getting major exposure just like this. Next, let's see. We've got an interesting question coming in from a dummy hungry. Did you want to say something there, Clover?
Yeah, I just see that one guy in the comment right there that I've actually blocked because he is unbelievable. But if you watch that, just want to point out something to you because you're claiming that World Mobile is spending that ICO money wisely. They also sponsor a football team for a season, bizarrely. Well, I'm not going to explain to you. It's funny how Christian answered that he got this one for free, right? I mean, Christian's an incredible guy. I mean, if you haven't met Christian, he works super, super hard. So shout out to Christian, man. I completely believe it. This guy is nonstop. He's done so much for World Mobile, and I've been up in Reno and I've seen it for myself. He's a rock star. But just to let you know something, that person that comment, World Mobile Network actually generates revenue. We have real paying customers on the network, unlike that fake users, cough cough bots on Solana, right? We actually generate real revenue, which allows us to have marketing revenue, right? That we can allocate to things like that. Even though Christian just said that it was at no cost, we actually have that revenue flowing through the network, which allows things like that for World Mobile to expand. And I think marketing is really, really, really important here. And people in our Web3 space are so used to like, oh, we got to spend money from the treasury, for marketing, or funds allocated, that were initially set aside for marketing. Well, no, I mean, we have real revenue generating that actually is set aside for these type of things. So I just wanted to say that, it's just every time I see this person's name, it just irritates me.
Yeah.
Well,
so
the other thing there too, this is at a AAA minor league baseball game. This league consists of all the players that are rising up and will be in the major leagues very soon, or the ones that are maybe having issues in the majors, coming back down. They have injuries or rehabs or whatever. This is pretty high level baseball, and it's local. And so, what spending money or not, getting it for free or sponsoring it, they're in Reno, they're deploying, and they're going to put their ads up. They could put them on billboards, they could put them on benches, they could put them on the sides of buildings, they could put them in signs in people's yards, or you can put them at a place where people are going to go and see future major leaguers, maybe future Hall of Famers. And they're going to say, I remember going to see the Reno Aces, and I remember seeing so and so play, and now they're the home run leader in the major league. This is one step away from professional, like the professional baseball teams that go to the World Series, right? This is where you want to get eyes on. People are excited about things, and especially in Reno, when you're bringing a mobile telephone network and they have terrible coverage. You're bringing broadband internet when they don't have much of anything. They're overpriced with the companies that are there. This is where you want. I mean, it's not like they're doing this in Tallahassee, Florida, where they're not. It's not like they're doing it in Charleston, South Carolina. They're not there yet. They're in Reno, and they're advertising at a Reno AAA baseball game. This is where you want to be doing it. World Mobile also started in the UK, and they were sponsoring. I think it was a 3-year sponsorship with the football club there, Fulham, right? So it wasn't a 1-year deal. It's a rotating cycle, and they were there for several years. And that's where their home base is. That's where Mickey's from. So for just ignorant comments like that, They clearly don't run businesses, at least businesses in the real world. They clearly don't know how to advertise and how to get the local population excited about something you're doing locally. It's just nonsense.
Yeah, I've actually had that same exact person comment on my content about midnight. This was a couple of months back, and obviously, I don't work for the midnight team. There's a lot of speculation going on, and this person just kept on trying to press me to give him answers. And I'm just like, you, every time that I see that particular person's name pop up, it's never for encouragement, So I'll just leave it at that. Um, it's interesting what your reputation in an ecosystem means. Anywho, let's continue the conversation. We've got a lot of really good questions coming in here. One that I've seen pop up a couple of times surrounding the airdrop node in Pakistan. So Dummy, Hungry, and Frank asking, when could we potentially get the node drop for Pakistan? Unfortunately, we don't have Manny here. This would be a great question to sort of press him for. But I haven't heard anything about the Pakistan drop. Have you guys heard anything that you guys are able to share here with us or with the general community?
Yeah, actually, they did mention that on the previous AMA from my memory, and I believe they are going to do batch 2 drop 2, right, which is going to be in Reno, and the following batch is going to happen in Pakistan. So they did confirm that.
Perfect. Nice and sweet. Let's see. Let's take another one. We've got a couple actually coming in from Jeff. So Jeff, always a pleasure to have you here with us every Saturday. Jeff asking, number one, is there any advantage in moving WMTX to another chain other than Cardano? I'll take a quick shot, but then I'm open to hearing what you guys have to think. But for me, I think it'll depend on what the offering is and then what you're using the token for. And so, to my knowledge, right now, right, aside from receiving WMT as a reward and then potentially using it for like some of like the third party services, I don't really think that there is too much to use the token for. But as some of the services come out, if we're able to pay with them in WMT and they're chain agnostic, I think that could be one big driver. But that's really the biggest thing that I can think of now as a project or as a builder in the crypto space. I think that the team would aim to try to provide the same offerings across multiple networks to sort of make the experience as seamless or as easy as possible for anybody that wants to participate in their network, right? And so I would think that whatever they're offering on Base would be the same that they're offering on Cardano as BNB or as on ETH, etc. But I could be potentially wrong on that end. But then aside from that, I'm thinking maybe like liquidity or like arbitrage opportunities could be a reason why you may want to move your tokens from Cardano to another ecosystem. But I would say those are probably like the two biggest things that I can think of. I'm not sure if you guys have any thoughts about, that particular question. If not, there's two more questions that have actually come in from Jeff that we could try to take a look at or try to dive into as well.
I'll just say two things real quick. When it comes to your question, Jeff, is there any advantages in moving the WMTX on chain other than Cardano? Well, ask yourself this: Are you storing your WMTX somewhere safe, and you're just staking and just stacking your bag, should I say, right? Then probably Cardano. I mean, but are you gonna trade the token, right? Then follow the liquidity. So it kind of really comes down to what you want to do with your WMTX. The beauty here is that now you're given that opportunity, depending on what you exactly want to do, because now the tokens are going to live in a few different blockchains, not only one. So it's going to open the door to the second part I just mentioned, to people that want to trade the token freely with more liquidity. So if you're just stacking, I mean, yeah, just keep it in the ledger, and Cardano has never been hacked before. So stake and stack on Cardano. Yeah.
And I have a slightly different perspective there. I'm not a DeFi guy. I don't like doing a lot of this fancy stuff that people do where they're swapping 18 different ways to make a fraction of a thing here or there, or buying into an NFT just to rent it out and sell it back. And that's not me. I'm real simple. Buy, stack, hodl, right? What I'm looking for specifically is, where can I offload this if I need to? I'm going to be operating a couple of businesses on World Mobile, being paid in WMTX, right? operating Earth nodes. You're going to get paid in WMTX. I'm going to want to stake. I'm going to want to make sure that my nodes are reinforced with tokens for extra rewards. But at some point, I'm retiring next year from my job, and it's going to be nice to have some sort of an income. I'm going to need some of this in cash. I'm not just going to want to take this and swap it for ETH or ADA or something else. And I don't want to have to go through 5 or 6 different swaps in order to do something with it. So even 2 or 3 swaps. I want to be able to take my WMTX, and when it's time for me to cash out to pay my monthly bills, I need to take out 1,000 or 2,000 tokens at a time. I want to know that I can take it from WMTX right on an exchange and sell it at the highest price possible and send it to my bank account. So I'm talking about getting out of crypto with these earnings, with these rewards, not just swapping it for USDT so I can go buy Bitcoin or ETH or whatever. So you have to look at it. What is your intent with this stuff? Are you just keeping all your funds in crypto for the end of time? Are you a sailor and just I'll never sell my Bitcoin. I'll never sell my WMTX. If you plan on going to cash with it at some point, you need to make sure if I have to swap 3 or 4 times to get it from one token to another, are you losing out on those additional swaps and trades? So I'm going to be looking for a place where I can take my WMTX and sell it directly for USD and then send it to my bank account at a place like Coinbase or Binance, assuming that they get listed there here in the near future. So that's what I'm looking for. And I want it to be a simple send to the exchange, cash out from the exchange. And so at least some of my funds will be in whatever token I can do that with. If we get listed on Coinbase or on Binance, but we can only do it through an ERC20, right? Then I'm going to have some on that platform, as opposed to having it as a Cardano native token. Because if I'm going to want to pull out, I need to be able to have quick access to do it. Now, if these exchanges have the liquidity, places like MEXC or KuCoin, you can do that right now, and it's USDT. But when you do that, there's just no liquidity there. You can't if you try and buy a large amount, you're not going to get it at the price, because there might be only 100 or 1,000 tokens available. There's very, very low liquidity right now as a Cardano native token. So I'm going to need to see that volume go up. So with the markets, not just the yield farming, these other things, but with the actual exchanges, in order to feel good about having it as a Cardano native token and being able to trade it for cash to pay my bills. Now, again, it's what's your priority. If your priority is to keep this and just play the game with it and move the knobs here and there to make sure that you're maximizing your crypto holdings, that's fantastic, and I think you can do that from anywhere. But figure out what you want to do and figure out where you think the best opportunities are going to be. And we've seen so far that we're having trouble getting Cardano native tokens. As much money as World Mobile has spent for the entire Cardano community, we're having trouble getting on major exchanges and getting liquidity there. So it might be worth your while to look at having at least some on a couple different platforms.
Those are all wonderful points that you mentioned there, Rob. I maybe just want to this question by mentioning or diving a little bit deeper into what you'd mentioned, which is you technically aren't a DeFi guy, but I do think that there will be opportunities for people that maybe want to lend or borrow, right, where there could be yield bearing opportunities for WMTX. Now, granted, yes, you definitely want to be careful, right, because a lot of that DeFi stuff comes with a lot of risk. So as long as you understand that, I think that's an opportunity. Similarly, because of liquidity issues, for example, let's say on Base early on, because there just isn't as big of a community as there is right now in Cardano, you can definitely bet that when you're going to be visiting a DEX on Base and you're going to be wanting to get access to WMTX, the incentives there will be a little bit higher for liquidity providers, right? So if you understand impermanent loss, you understand liquidity pools, how they work, there will be an opportunity for the early adopters who are facilitating the trading, or who are making it easier, right, for people that want to trade on DEXs on other ecosystems, the ability to do that. And so lending and borrowing, I think, is an opportunity, providing liquidity, and then just even using your own WMTX as collateral. If you're super bullish, again, not financial advice, but if you maybe want to move your WMTX to another ecosystem where you can borrow against it and then maybe buy even more WMTX, that's also an opportunity. So hopefully, Jeff, that gives you a better idea there. That's a really good question. And I think a lot of that depends on what you're looking to do and how risk hungry you are with this particular token. Second question coming in here from Jeff again. While all the tokens will eventually become WMTX, in reality, are there different versions of WMTX depending on what chain they reside? If I'm not mistaken, it'll be one token, but obviously because they have to replicate or make the token available on multiple chains, it'll have different policy IDs. One thing that's going to be interesting though is with a platform as big as World Mobile. Think of a platform, for example, like WanChain. So WanChain brings over Tether, USDC, DAI, etc. But those are all wrapped versions of those assets into Cardano. Very similarly, if you go over to Chainport or some of these other platforms that bridge World Mobile, a lot of the versions that they're bridging are wrapped versions. Now, when the team actually releases WMTX, it shouldn't be wrapped. However, that doesn't stop a bridging provider from potentially wrapping the asset and then rewarding you in that wrapped version when you use that particular bridge platform, right? So keep that in mind. There's obviously going to be the official versions of WMTX, and the team should hopefully be sharing those policy IDs or those token addresses with us as the community. But keep in mind that there's nothing stopping a particular bridging provider from creating a wrapped version of WMTX that's backed by some sort of locked version that you gave to them during the bridging process. So hopefully that made sense. If I'm ranting guys here, let me know. But if you guys want to take a shot at answering this particular question, you guys are more than welcome to. Otherwise, we'll jump into this third question from Jeff. All right, looks like we're good here on this one. The third and last question: is there an optimal location to store the EN NFTs? I'll take the easy route out here. I would just say make sure that you're using some sort of hardware wallet, right? That's probably the biggest niche you can do. In terms of what chain, I don't think that there's really going to be a big difference. Maybe, something that you can quickly get access to. But for me, I would say, if it's already on Cardano, I'd keep things as simple as possible and just keep it there unless there's a need or a must have type of reason as to why you need to bring it to another ecosystem or another network in terms of storage. But Clover, Rob, any questions or any responses from you guys about this particular one here?
I think, yeah, go ahead, Rob. Go ahead, Rob.
I'm a big fan of hardware wallets, and I think everyone should have them on there. And I don't think anything should be exposed. You need to have physical control over that, no matter what browser you're using or what wallet extension you're using. I've become a pretty big fan of Keystone wallets. I like the Keystone 3 Pro. I've had some conversations with their CEO, and I'm really impressed by how they respond and their feedback. And they're eager to get more involved with communities like ours. And so I've been impressed by that. I like the device personally. It's really nice and useful. I also have a couple different variations of ledgers, and I have the really cheap old Tracer, like the lowest model. They all have some different benefits and offer different things, but it's just go with what you know and don't be afraid to try a few things out. I bought a Keystone. I didn't need one. I bought one because they came out and they said, "Hey, we support Cardano now," and so I'll try it. And I've been very, very impressed. I didn't need it because I have a couple of ledgers, but you try them out, you get comfortable with them, and you create a wallet where you have just a few tokens you send back and forth. Just try and test it out and see what feels good. See what makes sense to you. And because the last thing you want to do is put all your money somewhere and not understand how to use it. I have some cold cards. I was listening to a podcast a couple of years ago, and it was the founders of Cold Card, which is a Bitcoin wallet. And I went out and bought them. And it's like basic, super, super secure, but it's like so basic. I thought I was going to screw things up because it's just not as user friendly. At least it wasn't. And so I have cold cards, but I have not been a fan of how they work from a user perspective. I think secure wise, they're the best there are, but you have to feel comfortable with these things. So I encourage finding and trying these things out and going from there. But do not keep if you have Eternal Wallet or you have, you know, the different wallets, but they're all hot wallets. I think that's a bad position to be in. I would definitely get something set up where you're using your signing keys are because you have a hardware wallet that you're using with it.
And I would
Thank
just
you.
add real quick. You guys hit on a few different really good points here, but it's very important to remember that when you're self custodying your funds, right? You're essentially your own bank. So even if you keep your things on a ledger or a hardware wallet, there's still possibilities of something happening and your seed phrase being exposed to. Let's say you kept your seed phrase on the cloud, right? There was recently a hack that someone posted on on Next, and they took a picture of their seed phrase, right? And it was a hardware wallet, and then someone ran a malware on their device, and they were able to get to their cloud password, and boom, their funds are gone. So keep your stuff offline, your seed phrases, and if I can give advice to people, don't keep your eggs in one basket. So like Rob said, there's plenty of choices. There's Trezor, there's Keystone, there's Ledgers, there's Tangent wallets. There's so many hardware wallets. Spread them across. Like try different things. Like you don't have to keep all your WMT X stack in one. Just maybe use three and then feel more comfortable in case something happens to one. I mean, if you're practicing self custody safely, then obviously you should be okay. But if you're someone new to crypto and you're not like 100% sure, then buy three. And then keep them in three places just so you can be more secure.
Yeah, thank you both again. You guys are doing a really good job of, well, I think we're all doing a good job of sort of feeding off each other here. And for the viewers, if you guys are enjoying this content, please, again, make sure to smash that thumbs up. Share this out. It really does help, not just me, but the World Mobile Project as a whole. Viva Rantex, touching on an interesting piece there that I was talking about earlier when it came to the bridge. And so, Viva, you are correct that, the tokens are locked in the origin chain. But what happens if those are, for example, exploited via some sort of hack? That makes the wrapped version completely worthless, right? So ideally, when WMTX comes out and these bridging partners are looking to, facilitate bridging for WMTX, ideally they should be going from, the official policy to the official policy. But I understand again that they're not forced to. But you do raise a good point there. I am of the mind that I try to stay away from wrapped assets as much as possible, but there are cases or events where that's really difficult to do. There's a lot of really good questions coming in, so we might have to pick up the pace here. Viva Rantex also following up. Did you already talk about what happens if we swap WMT for WMTX on September 30th? So we haven't. I know that Clover and Rob have both broken this down wonderfully. Maybe we just take a second to get a recap. But my understanding is that number one, you don't have to convert on day number one. Everything will be done one-to-one. If you're already staking, you have time to unstake and then migrate and then potentially restake. But Clover, Rob, do you guys maybe want to jump in here and break down what you guys know so far about WMTX? I know that there's actually an upcoming migration test taking place this coming Monday, which I think all three of us are going to aim to be a part of. But for anybody who missed a lot of the early details about WMTX, either one of you guys mind recapping what you guys know so far?
I'll jump in first. I think Cal has a lot of good information on this, so I'm just going to cover two quick points. The first is on the 23rd, they're going to come out and start their marketing campaign for the migration. There's a lot we don't know. We don't know about staking. We don't know about certain things that they're going to start pushing starting on Monday. And so wait and listen to, again, only official channels. Don't listen to anybody else talking about things or suggesting you try this or that when it comes to this migration. Only listen to the official announcements. We don't know about staking, but we do know that that right now in the vault, you can only stake if you have Cardano native tokens. And so, again, this is theory here, but in the past, I've taken tokens out of my wallet, the wallet that's linked to my vault. I did something with them, and then I sent basically that amount or more back same day. I never went below my threshold for staking. The amount of tokens was there. If they update the code just to put in the new policy ID number for WMTX, if you were to swap out your WMT through the migration site and keep it as a Cardano native token, and it stays in the same wallet, that'll still be in the same wallet that's linked to your vault. So unless they're going to do something different, it makes sense to assume that if you swap out same day, you don't change the amount. Remember, it's a 1-for-1. You're not going to lose anything by swapping. You'll be able to maintain your staking threshold. But until they come out and they confirm this, I'm not going to do it. I mean, if all my questions are answered day one, I'll be one of the first ones lined up. But there's not a rush. This is going to be open for months. So just consider that. And like I said, I don't know what this will look like for staking purposes if you swap out and you go to, say, an ETH-based token. The vault, you don't have a wallet that's an ETH-based wallet that is linked to your vault. So if you swap out, those won't be seen by the vault. You may go under your staking threshold. So these are questions that need to get answered before I'm going to feel comfortable, because I love earning these rewards. I love holding. I love getting the staking rewards, and I don't want to miss out on that because I'm eager and ready to see this thing happen. So just those are things to consider. But again, don't even listen to what I'm saying here and take it as gospel, because I don't know. These are assumptions and theories. Wait for the official announcements. They talked about even doing an AMA about the migration with the official team. So wait and hear it from them before you do anything. But whatever you do, make sure that you're not clicking on any links that do not come from the official account. And again, make sure that if you don't have one yet, you set yourself up with a hardware wallet for when it's time to swap and trade. We've asked, a couple people have asked specifically about, will there be a grace period during this migration so we can switch to a different hardware wallet or switch to something more secure than the hot wallet we're staking in currently. And they said that they will address these things here coming up very soon.
All right. Now, Rob, I thank you for that. I do want to jump in here and answer one quick question, and then Clover, we're coming straight over to you to get sort of what we know so far about the WMTX token. So this is coming in from Mostradamus. Thank you, Mostradamus. I know that you're also a delegator, I believe, with the DApp Central Stake Pool. That really means a lot. And he's asking, so if we decide to keep the WMTX on Cardano or the WMT on Cardano, we don't need to use the portal. Again, if I'm not mistaken, everybody needs to use the portal regardless of where you're at if you want to go from WMT to WMTX. So I just want to answer that brief question. And then also I want to take an opportunity to quickly plug in the World Mobile Alliance. So for anybody who just isn't aware, Rob and Cal here run the World Mobile Alliance every single other Saturday that we're not here streaming. They're hosting X Spaces. Now, today is the 21st. The next stream or the next Spaces is on the 28th. So 2 days before the portal opens. And then the next time that we'll be streaming here on YouTube will be the 5th. So 5 days after the portals open. So I'm going to do my best here to really get Manny on to be able to answer some of these more nuanced questions. But between now and next week, there's going to be a lot of information that's going to be coming out. So as Rob mentioned, right, this coming Monday, a lot of information and a lot of updates coming out about staking, etc. And so I believe that they'll be discussing all of that in this upcoming space, this coming 28th. So make sure to follow the World Mobile Alliance. The link to it is left down below as a part of today's video description. I'll go ahead and just drop it back in here one more time, but they're available at World Mobilers. So that's the fastest way and the easiest way to go ahead and make sure to stay in tune and stay in touch. And again, I think that the team here from the WMA will try to get some of the official World Mobile team members on for the next X Space, just to make sure, again, that a lot of these very specific questions can get answered. All right, that's there for my plug. Clover, over to you surrounding what we know about the WMTX token so far.
Yeah, great points, guys. I guess talking about the alliance, I just want to let everyone know that if you're doing once you're doing the migration, should I say, you can reach out to the alliance at any point, and one of us is gonna walk you through the process and answer any of your questions. So not only that, but like Rob said, on September 23rd, there's going to be a lot of different documentation that comes out. The team is going to cover all of these questions about staking, what's going to happen to your to your tokens that are currently staked, right? And all of these different type of things are going to be put out on a easy to follow documentation that covers exactly these type of topics. Now, the previous question that most Nostradamus asked, I think that's you, Matt Bull, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, the migration is essential, right? You are going to have to migrate your WMT token. You know, as a WMT token, you know, will basically no longer be supported by any centralized exchanges or decentralized exchanges, right? So meaning you won't be able to stake your token. You won't be able to trade your token. You won't be able to use your token in any way. Essentially, it's going to become obsolete. So it's definitely recommended to use the portal and migrate your WMT into WMTX if you wish to further participate in the World Mobile ecosystem, right? And speaking about staking, I'll go over the things that we know of that have been announced so far, and that is that staking will be paused once the portal goes live, right? We don't know when they'll pause the current staking. We don't know when the current staking will be released, but they did mention that staking will resume on the incentivized testnet that's coming up sometime in October, hopefully, right? And that's going to continue through the mainnet. So that's what they talked about. They did mention that the portal is going to be open for a few months, right? So you'll have plenty, like Fareed said, you'll have plenty of times. You don't have to do it on day one. You don't have to migrate your token on day one. You can migrate as soon as you know all the details. And yeah, so another thing that the team mentioned from my memory is that you know, once the portal closes, because obviously it's not going to stay open forever. Once it closes, you can actually reach out to the World Mobile team, and they'll assist you with migrating your tokens. Right. So if you are not super active online and you wake up and let's say in like 6 months and you're like, hey, what's happening? Everyone's talking about this new token. What is this WMTX? How do I do it? Oh, the migration portal is closed now. You know, well, again, reach out to the team and they'll migrate your tokens for you. So you're never going to be left out in the dark. So these are, I guess, the few things that were mentioned and that we know of. And then I guess another thing that they did mention as far as staking goes is that once incentivized testnet comes, staking is going to become automated and managed through smart contracts, right? So currently the way it works is you're going to have to, you know, claim your tokens and wait for a manual distribution. Well, that's not going to work like that anymore. Once you claim your tokens, it's all going to be handled by smart contract. We're all going to get our tokens at the same time, on time, and that's going to be handled by smart contract. So that's, I guess, the exciting part when it comes to staking and what was announced and what we know of.
Thank you. And as you were actually just speaking there, I had a personal question that popped up. So I'd love to hear if either one of you are able to answer this, and maybe this provides a little bit of value to the community. So my understanding is that the portal is to convert from WMT to WMTX. Does the portal also allow for you to bridge between one network and another network, or is it just a converter? So for example, let's say I've got WMT on Cardano and I want to switch over to Base at the same time that I'm either migrating or doing something like that. Like, I'm wondering if the portal's sole purpose is just to convert, or if the portal will also support bridging to other networks where I may already hold WMTX on Cardano, which has been converted, of course, and I maybe want to send that to another ecosystem, or will we have to use third-party bridges? That's, I think, one question that I have. So I'm not sure if the team has addressed that, but I would love to see if you guys knew the answer to that.
Yeah, so it's not gonna be a bridge that's gonna stay live, kind of like Chainport does or the One Chain does, right? It's just the portal that's created for you to burn a policy on one network and then create a policy on a second network, and it becomes a native token on that network, right? So it's not gonna be like a bridge that's gonna be active for you to transfer WMT to WMTX and then maybe transfer other things around networks. It's just a portal that essentially it's going to be live for X amount of time for everyone to migrate their tokens, and then also actually migrate your EarthNode NFTs. I mean, we haven't really talked about that, but they did mention that I think like a week or two after the portal opens up, like all EarthNode operators are going to be able to migrate their NFTs as well. So that's going to allow you to obviously migrate your EarthNode NFT through that portal. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be like a bridge that Chainport does, and for you to move funds back and forward.
Cool, cool, cool. Thank you. All right, I think there's a couple more questions here, and then we could probably get ready to wind things down here. This is coming in here from Mohammed Sabiri. Thank you for tuning in. After the migration, do we need ADA, ETH, or BNB to transfer our WMTX, or can we pay with WMTX itself? Number one, I'm wondering what you're referencing to when you're asking, can we pay? Like, what are we paying for? But then number two, I think what you're talking about here are like Babel fees. And so if you are swapping WMT to WMTX on Cardano, you'll still need ADA to like send that around, right? Like that doesn't negate the fact that you'll need that. Same thing with ETH and BNB. You'll still need ETH as gas to like move your WMTX to whatever chain. Now, once WMTX gets to Aya, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that like Aya will have its own gas fee or its own gas token. And so even in that regard, like I'm not sure that you'll be able to send WMTX and use WMTX to pay unless a chain supports Babel fees and allows for you to actually pay in the WMTX token in case you don't have whatever the native token or the gas token is for that ecosystem. So hopefully, again, that makes sense. Not sure if you guys want to add any clarification here. Again, I could be completely wrong, but based off of my understanding of everything right now, you'll still need ADA, ETH, BNB to transfer WMTX after the migration. Okay, we got a follow-up here from Jeff. Did you want to say something there, Clover?
And I was just saying it's correct. Yeah, what you said, it's true, right? I mean, I don't think you can pay what WMT as gas just because WMT is not set to be used as gas yet.
Yep.
So yeah.
Perfect. This is a follow-up here from Jeff. So we answered a couple of questions from Jeff earlier for anybody who tuned in maybe a couple minutes after that. Asking, as a follow-up, can I move my WMTX directly to Coinbase if WMTX is listed there? Yes. Now, what will it take to get WMTX listed on Coinbase? That's a whole nother conversation, Jeff. But yeah, I believe so, right? So any token that's supported by Coinbase, theoretically, if you've got a Coinbase non-custodial wallet, well, hold on. Let me make sure I use the right word. No, if you got a wallet that they control for you, then yes, I think you'd be able to send your WMTX there, and it should theoretically show up in your Coinbase wallet. But yeah, I think the big hurdle here, Jeff, is getting WMTX listed on Coinbase for support. Once that's there, you should be able to send it in from any of the supported ecosystems. Actually, that raises a really good point. So for a multi-chain token, you'll want to double check which versions Coinbase supports. So for something like WMTX, where it'll be on Cardano, Base, ETH, BNB, etc., you'll want to make sure that if you're sending it from Cardano, that Coinbase supports the Cardano version of WMTX. If they do, then there shouldn't be any issue. But that I think would be like the biggest thing, is that you just don't want to send WMTX from Cardano to a receiving address on Coinbase that may be base related and might be ETH related, because that will cause you to lose your funds if Coinbase doesn't support the Cardano version of WMTX. Again, I hope that doesn't confuse any of the listeners. Rob or Clover, you guys want to add anything about this here?
So I believe whatever I guess platform supports ERC20 standard, then that's going to be totally okay. So you can send it back and forth, because WMTX is going to be native on Cardano when you bridge it over and you migrate it over. So you can send funds from one blockchain to another, just because Cardano does support that standard of WMTX, and vice versa. So yeah, as long as there's an ERC20 supported standard on the blockchain, you're gonna be totally fine, and it's supported everywhere basically. So yeah, this is this is what I mean. I'm not gonna go into like details here, right? But this is what the beauty of this migration happening is, that you can literally have WMTX everywhere now, right? And it can live on various different blockchains that are supported by the ERC20 standard. So Binance, Ethereum, whatever, Cardano, yeah, you can totally send it back and forth, no problems.
Thank you, Clover. We've got a joker in the room. Accelerate. Will I be able to jump? Yes, you will. After the conversion, Accelerate, you can do anything that you want to do. Appreciate you tuning in here. Web3, native tokens are no more a security than my bracelet. I can't speak today. Native tokens are no more a security than my bracelet ring, personal to me. Interesting bit there. We've got Viva Rentex. You need to use the bridge if it's not listed in Coinbase, but the token is present in Base. Hop Protocol, for example. Yeah, that's my biggest concern, is just making sure that whatever you're sending to a centralized exchange, that's on the right network, or that the centralized exchange supports the correct network that you're sending from. All right, I think that runs through all of the questions that we've had. A lot going on here today. The Earth nodes, maybe we end off on that. So I'm going to quickly pull up JPEG Store here. But let's see, we had some pretty big sales. So the floor is currently sitting at 142,000 ADA. Let's see, that's an equivalent to $50,000. Now, Rob, I know at one point you used to be like a on-chain sleuth, keeping track of like who was buying these Earth notes, who was selling them, whether or not it was just like a, I don't want to say a wash trade, but like, somebody just trying to make a quick profit or whatever the case is. There's only, I believe, 4 left on the market. What are your thoughts about these NFTs? Are you still watching them as closely as you were before?
I'm trying to see who's buying. We saw, was it Mr. Miyagi just got one? I think Mr. Miyagi just got one. He's the one that made those really cool Aerostat and World Mobile logo keychains that he was selling and giving out, and he sent us a bunch for Rare Evo. And so seeing people get their first one, it's really exciting. A couple weeks ago, that Chris or Chrysalis, we think it's a big company. Somebody thought that was from Africa. They bought like their 19th one, and so they bought a couple more the past couple weeks. But I think these ones that have sold recently, for the most part, are going to people that either don't have any, or they have just a couple. And it's also you're seeing people that are trying to get in because they see what's happening. They know that we're getting closer. We're getting closer. I personally like to see new people grabbing these things and trying to position themselves when mainnet comes live. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity here. I really do, and that's why I have more than a 1 or 2. So I'm excited about what this could mean. I'm excited about being able to help operate this network, and to really position myself to grow as World Mobile grows. There's a lot of opportunity with the World Mobile chain and the IA chain. And what's cool is, I think some people they're starting to sell because they bought these things, they reserved them, but they just don't have the confidence to operate on this chain, how to operate a node. I have a friend who got into Earth nodes early and said, I want to be able to operate this myself. So that friend learned how to run a Cardano stake pool, and has turned into, they actually are running their own Cardano stake pool now, And the main reason for doing that was because they wanted to be able to say, I have experience running nodes, so I can operate my Earth nodes. And you see that, you see the success and the confidence that comes from that. And it's like, it's not difficult if you train your mind to do these things. I'm a cop, I'm not a computer programmer. I'm not a coder or anything. I mean, when I started my Cardano stake pool, I had somebody else run it for the first 8 months, and I paid him, and then I had another friend teach me how to do it. And so it's one of those things where if you want to learn, you can learn how to do it. And you can take over and you can do these things. Other people are buying these and they still have no clue what they're going to do about it. But there are folks out there that are going to operate these as a service for people. And so there's opportunities to be involved, even if you're not a tech guy. Just because you don't live in Reno doesn't mean you can't own air nodes in Reno, right? Same thing with the Earth nodes. And so it's exciting to see that people are getting really excited about this, and we're starting to see people recognize the value of this a bit more. Remember, for people that got in early, $50,000 was pretty standard price for what we paid for U.S. citizens, right? Because originally the pre-release of the token was 20 cents, but if you didn't have a friend in another country or a VPN or something, and a really clever way to get around that, you couldn't buy early. So when I got my first World Mobile tokens, it was 50 cents a piece the day that I got released here in the US, the day that the token generation event actually happened. And so you needed 100,000 WMT to get um, a reservation. And so a lot of folks paid 50, 60, it went to 90 cents. And I know one friend who actually paid about 100,000 tokens. It was 90 cents at the time. So his Earth node cost him $90,000 is what the conversion rate was. He didn't take it from cash, he took it from another coin that he had a lot of. But so we've seen these things run. And so while for sale it's $50,000, the other thing you need to remember is there's 100,000 WMT. That's what we originally reserved these with. We took 100,000 WMT and we sent it away in a smart contract, and they sent us back this Earth node. And so that's always still there. So even though this is $50,000, it's high for as far as secondary sales go. We're record levels right now. It's not high for what some people have actually paid for these things. And people paid more. I think there's a much higher value. But the other thing is, even at $50,000, there's over $20,000 worth of WMTX in that Earth node, because there's 100,000 WMTX that's in there that you can if you forfeit the NFT, you will get that back immediately. So there is an inherent value in this thing outside of what the markup price is on JPEG Store.
I know you're already going. I just saw this comment pop up in chat. The elevator, please elevator pitch me why is an Earth node important? And I couldn't think of a better person to sort of deliver on that than you, Rob. So if you maybe just want to go on for like another minute or so and just maybe explain for anybody that doesn't understand, like, why are these important? How do they maybe play into AYA and sort of like the validation, et cetera?
So the Earth node is going to operate the World Mobile Network. It's going to operate further the entire telecoms network that's being built on AYA. So it's not just going to be World Mobile. It's going to be other telecoms companies that want to come and produce on the blockchain and store on the blockchain. Other companies, you might see the big ones, and we know the GSMA is excited about this. World Mobile's working with companies like Vodafone. You might see them if they want to venture into blockchain. World Mobile is establishing a network that says, hey, you come build your task specific, your mission specific things on a blockchain. We have the blockchain. You just build the pieces that you need for it. The Earth nodes are going to operate all of that, and they're going to be paid for operating all of that, not just from World Mobile, but from the other companies that are buying in and paying for the usage of the blockchain. So there's potential for big rewards as this thing grows bigger. There's only 1,000 Earth nodes total. And so no matter how big this thing gets, those rewards will be divided no more than by 1,000, right? World Mobile's taking a massive percentage of their profits, and they're buying back the token, the WMTX token, off the open market in order to keep those prices up as they pay out WMTX from that reward structure. So there's the ability to earn a lot by operating and doing these things. Um, and remember, like I said, there's only 1,000 of them. um it's like having a Cardano stake pool or an ETH 2.0, stake pool where you're holding, you're earning by operating this. You're operating the network. You're also providing the ability for people to stake and earn as well. The more delegation you get, it's not going to be a huge percentage. The staking portion for Earth nodes is not going to be as big as it says it is on Cardano or other things where it's your whole performance is based on how much you have delegated to. But that'll add more. If you do a good job branding, you might get a little bit more of a reward overall. But the reality is this thing is going to get very, very big. And we talk about even just having one right now. If you say you don't want to run this thing for 3 or 5 years, I made a post, and again, these numbers are stupid. Okay, this is me being stupid here. So don't take this as Rob said this is gospel. I'm going to make $500,000. Okay, but just wishful think a little bit, but realistically wishful think. I'm never going to be one of those guys that's like, oh, World Mobile WTX is going to go to $15 a token. You'll never hear me say that. But what if it goes to 2 in the near future? What if it goes to $2 a token? There's 100,000 WTX in this Earth node. Okay. So at $2 a token, you have an embedded, an inherent value of $200,000 right there. This is a business. And some people, they build their business up and they operate them. Other people, they pay others to operate it and they just sit back and invest, right? Like we talked about earlier, that node as a service. You might have one and you don't want to run it. You don't want to figure out how to do computers. You let somebody else do it and you pay them for it. And you sit back and you collect because you're the investor, you're the owner of this business. An Earth node is the keys to the blockchain. You cannot operate the blockchain without having this Earth node to unlock the blockchain for your access, right? So this is your key. If you're making rewards on this, let's say you're making, $2,000 a month, $3,000, $5,000 a month doing this, that might sound ridiculous, but you know what? When ADA was $3 a token, if you were in a stake pool that made 1 block per epoch, you were making $6,000 a month when ADA was between $2.50 and $3 a token. So again, from just a financial side, if this thing moves, and we believe it will, we see the work that they're doing, we see how the growth, as this thing moves, the value is going to go up. So what you're bringing in. So now, again, when you sell a business, what's the valuation of your business? Do you base it off of your assets plus how many years? 1 year, 2 year, 3 years. So I made this post the other day and I said, hey, what if you're making $5,000 a month doing this? That's $60,000 a year. Times that by 3-year valuation, that's $180,000 over 3 years, plus a $200,000 embedded because of the WMTX in the Earth node at $2 a token. Right now, you're looking at a $400,000 business right there, right? Price could go up. The amount you make per month could go up. There's potential for earnings here. So not only are you helping the World Mobile Network, you're decentralizing it. You are making it more robust. You're having your setup in different areas across the world. So one guy's operating 20 and another guy's operating 20, the same thing, but we're spread out. We have a couple here and there. You're making the network more robust. You are setting yourself up now to, in the future, profit monthly or sell and bring in a lot more potentially than you put out to purchase this. So again, for me, this isn't a number go up, wishful thinking. This is a business decision. And then when you decide, hey, I can afford this, I can afford to take this risk because I see the value. This isn't wishful thinking. Again, it's not this whole moon boy attitude. This is, you see the value of the progress, the value of what World was doing, the progress and how they're building, and you make a business decision, say, I'm going to invest in this because I believe there's future benefits for me while still helping World Mobile accomplish their mission.
Ladies and gentlemen, and this is why there's only 7 Earth nodes for sale. Man, if I had the extra money right now, I'm like clicking buy. Yeah.
Clover's like, I'm tapped out, man. I bought as many as I could. No, I don't blame you. I mean, that's super, super bullish. Again, really showing why these Earth nodes are important. And I'm just going to quickly pull this back up here. I mean, I think it just boils back down to simple economics, supply and demand. So just taking a look here, we can see this is the NFT history for the last 30 days as we get ready to close out here. I mean, at one point, the floor was at a steady, 110, just a little bit over 100,000 ADA. And we just saw, I mean, a huge supply shock. And so, as Rob clearly mentioned, there's never going to be more than 1,000 of these. And as more people hear about World Mobile, more people see the actual revenue, more people see the air nodes. And I feel like that's really a big piece of it too, right? Like people are diving into the air nodes and they're like, wow, okay, I'm actually making something here. And they're like, okay, how can I get more involved? And the next logical step is to take a look at the earth nodes. And as we're going to start to see more people want to pick those up, I mean, the community is super diamond hands. And so looking at this here, right, we sort of broken out of this price range here from the floor price. But then look immediately what's happened on the right hand side here. We've now seen more listings coming in, if you look at the very bottom there, at higher price ranges. So we're now shifting out of that zone where people thought that the fair value of these NFTs was around 100,000 ADA to where now these new listings are all coming in, 200, 250, all the way now. And so I think we're going to start to see a very similar thing where that's going to be the norm. Because I know when we first started these streams, the norm was around 50 to 60,000 ADA. And we had, for a short amount of time tapped into the 100K, and the price came back down a little bit. And then again, after we had that sort of big news, or the speculation, I should say, around SpaceX, we saw a huge price increase in these NFTs. And so now we're breaking out of that, where like if you see an Earth node being listed for under 100, that's a sale. At one point, that wasn't considered a sale. And so I think the fact that like this is fixed, there's only 1,000, nobody's selling, there's only more demand. It's only logical that these are going to continue to increase. So hopefully that's a thorough enough answer there, Jado. But just want to take an opportunity to answer that. And again, Rob, I definitely do appreciate taking the time to go ahead and do that for us. All right. So we've been going for quite a bit. I think it's a really good time to go ahead and begin to just kind of wrap things up here. And so I'm not sure if you guys want to add anything. I know we've covered a lot about WMTX, and we just wrapped up a little bit there about the Earth nodes. But there's also obviously Scan for Points, which has been pretty big. There's the upcoming end of the month here, where I believe there should be some new rewards that come out. Like, what are you guys excited about? Obviously, WMTX is sort of the big thing right now that we maybe just haven't touched on, that maybe you guys want to reiterate or highlight here for the community. And either one of you guys feel free to jump forward. It doesn't have to be long. It can be long, but I know we've already gone for an hour and a half. So the floor is open to either one of you guys.
I'll just jump real quick. And there's a lot of things that excite me. I just want to remind everyone it's Scam for Saturday. So definitely go out and get those points if you have an Android phone. Make sure you use the hashtag Scam Saturday on X, and post your pictures wherever you're scanning so you can encourage other people to join this amazing and beautiful network, and encourage other people to obviously scan the areas and earn those rewards and help grow the World Mobile Network. But yeah, I guess the one thing I just want to remind everyone that a lot of documentation is coming out on the 23rd when it comes to the migration portal. I want to remind everyone that there's going to be a lot of different scams. There was like 2 that came out during the last AMA that people were able to catch. I've been getting invited to like random Telegram chats with like people that are using the I guess the admin's pictures and then pretending to be talking to each other. It's just like it tricks you, right? Like they're asking each other questions and they're answering each other questions, and then at the end you'll see, okay, the migration is live, click here, and then don't do that. Stay vigilant, ask questions. Like, you don't have to do this right away. I mean, we've talked about this on our previous alliance space. Just be patient with this. It's not like a race where if you like are the first one to do it, you get like 1,000, WMT extra. Like, none of this exists, right? Like, it's a one-on-one swap. Sorry. So just stay vigilant. Wait for the team announcements, and don't get your tokens stolen, and don't make like the mistake of obviously using a website that's not released from the team. So just wanted to say that to people that are listening when it comes to the migration. But yeah, there's a lot of different things that are going to come up after the migration happens. The team hinted at a few different partnerships that are coming up, which obviously we don't know which ones they are, but we've seen, the team take pictures with like Coinbase initiatives and like things of that nature. So when we hear major partnerships coming, I'll let your mind run wild here, and then think of the various different things that will happen, and you know and the various different communities we're going to start welcoming, because now that the token is going to be on various different chains, we're going to start seeing different people from different communities and different blockchains come. So I just encourage everyone to be, obviously welcoming to new people, and keep on doing what you're doing. I mean, there's so many people educating others on X, and we've been in this space for like 2 years now. So there's so many amazing Earth node operators. There's so many amazing ambassadors out there that are doing their hardest to, obviously educate everyone. So just want to encourage everyone, keep on doing what you're doing. Keep on posting these amazing posts that you do every single day, and let's welcome everyone that's going to be joining World Mobile, because soon enough we're going to start seeing like a ton of people joining our community. So it's going to be exciting to see where things are going to start heading Q4. And let's see what else. Another thing that the team talked about is a brand new website, right? That they're working on. So we're gonna see a token website that's gonna essentially go down and explain to you what the World Mobile token is, right? What does this solve? Like all of these different things, like how can you own an air node? How can you launch your own network in your community? So different things, a lot of things the team has planned, and I'm super excited. That's why I made a post yesterday that I'm beyond excited about what World Mobile has in store for us for Q4.
Nicely stated. It's always a pleasure having you on here, Clover. I do want to quickly take an opportunity to give him a shout out here. So he's been growing his stake pool. And for any of the mobilers that are still here, we've got one quick call to action. Please take an opportunity to head over to the official Palm Economy website. There's the upcoming ISPO V2, where the Clover stake pool is nominated to be receiving or to act as a partner pool. So it takes literally 30 seconds. You can jump over there. The link is right there at the very bottom. I'll go ahead and paste that here as soon as I bring this down and as soon as Rob gets into his closing comments. But take the opportunity, go over there. You select 3 pool operators. So you can select Clover and then any of the other 2 that you have found that have contributed here into the ecosystem. I think Clover's contributions here have been pretty clear. I don't think I need to go and rehash any of those, right? Even him taking the time to spend an hour and a half here on a Saturday, we could be with his wife or his daughter. He's spending it here with us, giving us a lot of really good alpha about World Mobile. So make sure to go ahead and check that out. I'll drop the links here in just a second. But over to you, Rob. There's just been a lot. And I know that, you're getting ready to hopefully retire, right? And really go head first, which I feel like you've already done into World Mobile. But what are you most excited about as you're ready to close us out here?
Watching what World Mobile is doing and watching them grow, it's I get inspired because my goal is where I'm at now, personally, professionally. I want to always surround myself with people that I think, not disparaging against me, but people I think are better than me. I think, I love the old statement, the old adage, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Another one that I've heard at some business courses I went to a long time ago, where you'll be the financial middle of your 5 closest friends. And so it's like, well, if you can find a way to surround yourself with people who are successful, who are motivated, it's going to motivate you to be more successful as well. And I want to be in a position where I am working with people who are passionate about the same things that I am, who have different skills than me, but know that we can push forward together. And that's why I love working with you, Fareed, and with you, Cal, is because what you guys offer, the skills that you have, and the passion that you have, and the ability. There's some things that I think we do very well together, and there's some things that because we have those same skills, but I think there's things that are really complemented well where I'm lacking in, but I see vision. I'm able to motivate and get more excited about it because I see how well you guys do things. And so that's what I'm trying to do with World Mobile. I look at these guys, I become friends with some of the founders. And it's like I'm motivated to do more and to be more. I watch their lead and I try and do as much as I can. I try and follow in the footsteps. I try and learn and point in the right direction. I'm not looking for easy fixes. I'm looking for what are they doing? Why are they doing this? And how can I get more involved? And I think the more we take that approach, the more we all are going to help improve. And as we do that, we're going to carry bigger loads and we're going to bring even more to the table, which is going to show more and more growth here for World Mobile. So I'm excited about getting this community really fired up. We saw what the turnout was like at Rare Evo. We saw how many hundreds of people came through the World Mobile booth, how many people showed up specifically because we were all there. The team was there, the alliance was there. And so as we grow this, as we start to really see the infrastructure get in the hands of the community, trying to grow this community, um, trying to push forward and not just sit back and wait for World Mobile to do it for us. That's what I'm most excited about is being able to take this opportunity with people you know and you trust, people you want to be around, and take it, make it more than an opportunity, but make it a reality. And so I think as we move further, you're going to see a lot more from the alliance. I think it's assumed, but I don't know if everyone knows it yet. But Fareed is a major part of that. I mean, he's on the webpage, the old webpage that we have. But as we grow this thing, the three of us, especially as we do these shows and we start to put other pieces and components and get more people involved, it's I think really crucial that we as the alliance have a lot of success. We have to. We can't back down on that because as we push forward, there's a lot of people that are looking for things to do. And it's really hard to say, "Hey, here I am. I'm ready to go do something." But to do that alone, you can't really do it. World Mobile is not going to give you the time of day. If you, hey, I'm ready to put up two link nodes and one 360 in my town in the middle of a place that you guys aren't. They're not going to expand there for that. And that's what somebody has, what somebody can afford. That's awesome. But what we need to do is we need to provide the opportunity, especially if World Mobile is focusing on having community groups help with the expansion. We need to get a group together and go to that area. We need to encourage that person and make sure they know they have an opportunity. People that want to get more involved. I loved how at Rare Evo we had 4 or 5 people within the community step up and run the booth. And I've said this before, but when I was there, I'd step away for a sec, I'd come back, and I was like, I need to take notes. These guys they're saying things that like, man, maybe I forgot, right? But it's like it's almost like it's new to me because I'm hearing the way they phrase it, the way that they've practiced these things, and it's like, man, we have so many talented people here, so many people that want to get involved, and if we cannot, as the alliance, get them involved, we are failing. And so I think a lot of this has been Saturday talk shows, Friday night talk shows, over the last 2 years. But we've been talking quite a bit, the three of us, and we've been talking with World Mobile too about how we can make this bigger. And that's what I'm excited to see is I believe that as we press forward, we're going to get other people involved and we're going to carry this thing to bigger heights than any community group that World Mobile has imagined in the past. So like they probably said, hey, we need to build a community and make this a sharing economy. I want shock and awe. I want them to be like, we can't do this without the alliance. We can't do this without the community because they are doing so much that we can't even keep up with it. And we have the people to do that. We have the community, the people that are listening here, the people that pay attention, the people that show up in person. We've met them. We know them. We are them. And I'm very impressed by what we have, by who we are, and I cannot wait to watch that synergy with World Mobile happen to the point where the community is running this show.
It's right around the corner. I can feel it, especially after this last Rare Evo. I think everybody's trying to sort of find their footing. And for me, even as a content creator, hearing that it was going to be at the same venue, I'm like, okay, I know exactly what to expect. I know what we did well last time. I saw a couple of gaps where we could have improved. And I know that this coming year, we're going to knock it out of the park. And so, Rob, thank you for being that visionary. Thank you for holding the torch. And of course, that's with you, Clover, as well, right? For the last 2 years, showing up day in, day out, not complaining, right? Even when there's been the FUD, you guys have been FUD busting. And so I appreciate what you guys are doing. You guys are the front lines. And so that will wrap it up here for today's show. Can't thank everybody enough for tuning in here. I did see Christian Reese dropping in. So Christian, we were actually talking about you earlier, promoting World Mobile at that baseball game. We would love to get you on here to talk about, your experience, what you're doing, and what comes next. I'll be reaching out. I know we definitely caught up and talked about you joining us a little bit here on these live streams, but just want to take an opportunity to highlight him being here with us. I believe that will do it here for today's video. For anybody who's watching that continues to have questions or maybe just wants to join the World Mobile community, check out the description down below. Make sure to follow Rob. Make sure to follow Clover. Make sure to follow the WMA or the World Mobile Alliance. But even more important than that, make sure to follow all of the official World Mobile channels moving forward with this upcoming World WMTX migration. That will do it here for today's video. The entire community is here to support any and to welcome any new members. And hopefully you guys are able to find some benefit out of this. And so as we get ready to close out here, looks like Christian is happy to chat. We'll definitely do our best to get him on here and to talk about air nodes and everything that we can get out of him while Mike, the embargo guy, is not around. But that'll do it for today's video, everybody. Really, really appreciate this one. I really, really appreciate you all tuning in. I appreciated this one. Definitely learned a lot along the way. Again, if you guys could just smash that thumbs up here as we get ready to wrap up, I would really appreciate it. If you found any portion of this to be helpful and you want more of it, consider subscribing to DAP Central. And last but not least, if you're in the replay or just watching this after the replay, make sure to leave any questions or comments down below. That said, and as always, we'll catch you all in the next one. Cheers, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend.